Good day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to be previewing and taking a look at the Kaioken Goku LR and the Great Ape Vegeta LR that are coming to Dokkan Battle with the second part Legendary Summon banner for the anniversary. So this is Goku Kaioken or Battle Against Limits Goku Kaioken, and we're going to see his details, just kind of take a look at him and obviously discuss how good he is. So in terms of leader skill, we have All Out Struggle or Final Trump card 150%. I know we're still working with LRs having 150% leader skills, but I really think we need to bump these up to 170 or even 160. We just need to give it a little bit of a higher. I think overall leader skills okay. All Out Struggle does need a secondary lead. Final Trump card does need a new secondary lead because the only current leads are the 5th year LRs, and All Out Struggle, the only current lead I think is the physical Kaioken, Blue Goku and Blue Vegeta. So very solid. In terms of links, Kamehameha, Saiyan Lineage, Over in a Flash, Z Fighters, Shocking Speed, Sharing the Limit and Legendary Power. Over in a Flash, Shattering the Limit, Shocking Speed, and even Saiyan Lineage all end up being key links. So he's got a lot of avenues to gain key from, but a lot of them are quite diverse. So he has a decent link set, although Z Fighters is traditionally a harder link to activate unless you're using other Saiyan Saga Gokus. Then we have his passive. So if there's an enemy whose name includes Vegeta at the start of the character's attacking turn, it activates the entrance animation once only, and key +3 and attack is 70% for the rest of battle. So this already is pretty limiting in a sense that the only real event where you're going to religiously proc this or proc this very frequently is the legendary or the Fighting Legend Vegeta event. So this is already quite limiting, although obviously there are a lot of Vegetas in content. I mean, you'll see Vegetas in SBR, ESBR, you obviously see them in the Fighting Legend Vegeta event. You're not going to see one in the Red Zone, and you're not going to see one in, well, yeah, pretty much there. You could see one in Epic Collection of Battles, of course, but I just think overall it's not that great a condition. Although Vegeta is very common, he's not ultra common in the hard content, which means it's not going to be super frequent to see the entrance animation. Although they only lock an attack boost behind it, it is still a little bit upsetting. But overall, it's not the end of the world. Then we have the attack and defense of 100%, that's pretty decent. Key +7 for 7 turns from the start of the turn, it's also pretty decent. Plus an additional attack and defense of 59% when performing a super attack, it's pretty good. Plus an additional attack of 59% if it's an ultra super attack, which is also very good. Randomly changes key spheres of a certain type, strength, excluded to strength key spheres, and he has a high chance of performing a critical hit. So this is good. Overall, I like the passive. Obviously, a very hard hitting unit. Defense will be fine after he super attacks as well. And when I say fine, will be very good. His attack damage, though, will be pretty crazy. That high chance of performing a critical hit is also always nice. It basically means you can build him into full additional and really take advantage of that critical hit function. In terms of his active skill, he has the Hope Imbued Spirit Bomb. Can be activated when HP is 59% or lower, greatly raises attack temporarily, causes ultimate damage and stuns the enemy for 1 turn. Pretty decent active skill. Before we look at categories, he massively raises attack and defense 1 turn, which is good. That's going to double up, and remember his defense boost is multiplicative, so that's very good. Also gives you a good reason to go for the additionals because he's going to really raise his attack big time on his 18 key, which means any follow-up 12 keys should also be at a decent level. And in terms of categories, he's on a decent amount. All Out Struggle, Final Trump card, Pure Saiyans, Full Power, Goku's Family, Total School, Bond of Friendship, Accelerated Battle, Battle of Fate Kamehameha, and Saiyan Saga. So All Out Struggle, pretty solid. Final Trump card, pretty solid. Pure Saiyans, you shouldn't really have an issue finding link partners on these teams. And generally speaking, I think it's always a Goku unit's always somewhat easy to fill in onto teams. Saiyan Saga definitely needed a good Goku. So yeah, overall, I think Goku is looking pretty solid. Obviously, as mentioned before, he raises attack and defense, but massively raises on his 18 key. It's very important, this note. So you're going to get his 18 key, and then your follow-up 12 keys will be a lot higher. You'll also have a lot of defense, and you have that chance to crit, that 50% chance to crit already. So Goku, overall, definitely a highly offensive unit. I think his leader skill is good. He's kind of an updated lead for 2 categories that definitely needed it. All Out Struggle hasn't really been super relevant for a while. Final Trump Card also very, very much the same. My only issues, honestly, with the unit is I think leader skills could be higher. That's just a general complaint with LRs, and I think overall you could probably have done with giving him a slightly easier entrance animation to activate, at least from my perspective. But overall, I think the unit looks really, really good, and I think he's pretty solid. Next is the Vegeta Giant Ape. Obviously, he has a Giant Ape transformation. Overall, looks pretty cool. The card arts, by the way, just a note on that, both card arts, awesome. Really, really like them. Obviously a throwback to the Saiyan Saga, but really, really awesome. Leader skill, Inhuman Deeds or Giant Ape Power. This is okay. I would have preferred Giant Form, because Giant Form has 2 leads right now. One is Tapion, who's by far the best lead, and the other one is Lord Slug. But the biggest issue is, for me personally, Lord Slug is an irrelevant unit, and although Giant Ape Power does kind of need a secondary follow-up LR lead, I just think overall, yeah, Giant Form needs it a bit more. I just think you need, that category is so bad that it needs whatever relevance it can get. I know Vegeta's on the category, but if you don't summon and pull Vegeta, you can use him as a friend lead and really help out that category a lot. That category is really bad. So we've got Inhuman Deeds, which is good. It's their second summonable legendary unit that is able to be utilized, which is pretty weird, honestly speaking, like that both leads are legendary summon units, but I mean, it is what it is. In terms of links, I got Saiyan Warrior Race, Royal Lineage, over 9,000, Transform, Saiyan Raw, Shattering the Limit, and Legendary Power. So obviously Transform is for Giant Form. Saiyan Raw is pretty decent, Shattering the Limit pretty decent, Saiyan Warrior Race pretty decent, Royal Lineage pretty decent. Over 9,000 is a Scouts of Vegeta thing, and Legendary Power is obviously self-explanatory. I think overall his link sets, I'm going to put okay. He obviously has to have Transform to help him out on the Giant Form category. Saiyan Warrior Race is decent, Royal Lineage is decent considering you'll probably want to pair him up with the Vegeta. Saiyan Raw is okay. The difficulty is, obviously they gave it to him to link up with units on Giant Ape Power, but I think the problem is his other links don't really have a lot of synergy with, Saiyan Raw units in general. But he does have Shattering the Limit, which is an okay key link. So overall, he's decent. I would say his link set's maybe a little bit worse than Goku's, but it should be okay. Serviceable for sure. Then we have his passive skill, obviously reciprocative to Goku. If there's a Goku or an enemy whose name includes Goku at the start of his attacking turn, activates his entrance animation, and he has Ki +3 and attack of 60% for the rest of battle. He then has Ki +3 and attack and defense of 100%, with an additional attack and defense of 60% when performing a super attack, plus an additional defense of 60% if it is an ultra super attack. He guards all attacks, plus an additional Ki +3 and attack of 30% within the same turn when guard is activated. So the big thing with Vegeta is that he guards all attacks, which is good. It makes him really, really strong defensively. Obviously, the only hindrance to Vegeta is that some or a vast portion of his defense is still locked behind his ability to super attack, which I think is maybe his only hindrance. Like, his starting defense will still be relatively low, especially at 55%. So even with something like guard active, when you only have 100 or 110,000 defense, even with guard active, it's not really enough to carry you through the majority of stages in Ultimate Red Zone and things like that. In most other content, it will be more than fine. I'm just specifically speaking about that portion of content. So at 55%, I think you might struggle to use him there. But once you start to get dupes in him, once that base defense rises up, you should be really good. And I mean, it is only for that very start of the turn. So the moment he can get his super attack off, especially his ultra super attack, then you're going to be seeing a then he'll be really good. So he also has an active skill, Giant Ape Transformation, where your HP is 40% or less, obviously turns into a Giant Ape. As with all Vegetas, he's on like 1,000 categories, but he helps out a lot of these categories. Inhuman Deeds desperately needed him. Dragon Ball Seekers is a good addition for him. Planetary Destruction is a good one for him. Battle of Fate is also pretty good. Giant Form, also a really good pickup for him. Gifted Warriors as well. So overall, I actually think he really helps out a lot of categories, especially Giant Form, where he's desperately needed. Planetary Destruction, where he's desperately needed. Space Traveling Warriors, he helps out Vegetas there. Gifted Warriors as well. So yeah. Then he raises, so this is interesting, he raises attack for 1 turn, and his ultra super is he causes mega colossal damage to all enemies. So he's got an AoE attack, which is pretty interesting. Obviously, a lot of Vegetas tend to have AoE attacks. Well, not a lot of, but more commonly you find Vegetas with AoE attacks, especially Margin Vegeta. A Saiyan Saga Vegeta is a little bit unusual, but I think overall it's actually not that bad. I think it's pretty cool in terms of his build. Obviously, the one thing here is that Vegeta does not have any built-in additionals or any built-in crit, so I think you're going to want to go crit on him, try and get those crit AoEs. Then we have the Giant Form. So the Giant Form, obviously nothing much changes with the unit. They don't link or anything like that. Just the only real noticeable thing is that the Giant Form has Ki +5. So overall, I think, Vegeta looks really good. I like them both. I really do like them both. The question of whether you should summon on them, we'll address in the summoning banner. But I think overall, I really like both of them. And I think they're super solid. But yeah, that's going to be it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like on it or leave a comment. Love to hear your guys' thoughts on whether you're going to be summoning for them or what you think about the units. And yeah, that's going to be it from me. But until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.